you have some news for us?
I don't know if we're live. It could kind of totally work into the flow of the conversation, but if you want me to just blurt it out first.
Off the bat, we have a celebrity in our midst, and I think it's time to share.
Who's a celebrity? That's not my blockbuster news.
Oh! I thought you were gonna share your other news about what's coming this summer.
Oh, what's coming this summer?
Tone, cut it out. All right. Knock it off, okay?
You want a grand announcement?
I've been telling everybody that for like 2 months.
Okay, well, I think it's cool.
Oh yeah, so yeah, check out the title might change. Dem ones, yeah, absolutely.
I can't wait for it to come out. Neither I'm really excited about seeing this too. Like, yo, that's my. I can't wait.
I know.
Jay, I'm gonna send you, and Haley, I'll send you. I have a really, like, when I say really, it's from 4 different camera angles. The audio changes each camera angle, and the lighting isn't done. Raw cut of one of my scenes. If you ask me, it's the least funny of the scenes, but I actually have it on my phone. I would send it to you. Because if you even giggle at this is the scene that's not supposed to be funny. So if you giggle at this part, you're gonna kill yourself laughing at the other part. So I'll send those to you. But that's not what my big news really is, and the reason I said we'll get to it. I feel like I want to save it
further along. Okay, that's okay. Because we can wait.
Let me check the docket.
Okay.
Let me figure out. Hold on. Let me check the. I know you sent it. So hey, what's up, chat? How you doing, Jay? How you doing? Haley, host Haley. Listen, this is the big news. This is not the big news, but this is big news. Fluent and Chill merch will be out in 48 hours. And maybe JD can put in a poll. Do we want a host Haley shirt? Because we got Team Fluent, we got Team Chill, we've got That's Not Ridiculous, we've got Now You're More Fluent. Like, we got all that stuff covered. We've got This Is Good right here. We've got There Are No Super Teams. If you've ever watched me, you know I say that a lot.
Did you say that? So I need a slogan.
You do need a slogan. I was gonna do Hi, I'm Haley, but I don't know that you've ever actually said that.
Maybe I might. Hi, by the way, what's up, Ron, in the chat? Ron is in the chat. He said, I'm trying to figure out which is better, to be fluent or chill. Which is a good question.
Better to be, or who's better?
What is it better to be, fluent or chill?
Oh, you got to be fluent and chill. That's why you're here.
Boom.
You got to take a light. Take it.
Yep. There we go.
You said it so many times, and now, like, I'm saying bye to people sometimes, and in my head I'm hearing "take a life." Oh, that'll be the next one that comes out.
Okay.
Hey, FIFA boy, hold on. FIFA boy, we know everybody's Team Chill. You don't need to like pledge your allegiance. We get it. There's more chillaholics than influence.
Okay, so before we start, Fluent, I think you owe me an apology. You owe Jay an apology, and most importantly, you owe Steph Curry an apology. So, how do you feel? We got to do a real quick wrap up of the finals because we haven't seen each other since they ended. But yeah,
and before we go any further, make sure that you're very detailed because you had them smoking Golden State. You didn't have them beating them. You had them smoking them, Tone. So we're all ears.
What are you talking about? I had the Celtics in 7.
What did you have them doing in Game 6, Tone?
I had the Warriors winning. I said I'm going to be wrong, and I said Steph is going to go for 37 and 12. True or not? I said, and he went for 34, 7 and 7. So pretty close. If he had the 7 and 7, he had 34 and 17. I said 37 and 12. I was the most. You both picked the Celtics to win Game 6.
No, I didn't. Did I pick the Celtics to win Game 6?
Yes, you did.
No. Okay, here's what happened.
Are you sure?
Jay, I think you had six all along, I did. But then you changed it.
I had the Warriors in 6, but the problem that I had was I couldn't see them beating the Celtics 3 straight games. That was the problem that I had. That was the problem that I had. That was the problem that I had. But okay, Tone, we all is.
You want the recap? Here's the recap. My thought going into that series was this. One, team that beat Jimmy Butler every year won the title. I thought the Celtics, as I said before, were a year away. And I figured, hey, you know what? They might be on, it's free money. It's house money. So why not go out and win? And I thought the collection of parts. So Tatum, Brown, and Smart versus Curry, a hobbled Clay, and I don't know if you want to put Dre as a third. No, Clay's not the same Clay he was, right? So it's not the same.
He ain't hobbled neither, though, Tone. He's not hobbled neither. Okay.
But not the same Clay. I'm blaming the injury.
Yeah, 100%.
What else am I going to blame? Not the same Clay. And then I guess Dre. Because when we said 123 games of finals experience versus 0, they were including Iguodala, who wasn't going to be playing, let's be honest, right? And then it was mostly Curry, Clay, and Dre. Because Wiggins never sniffed the playoffs. Poole never sniffed the playoffs. So those other guys, I was like, okay, so they're in the same boat as the Celtics, except actually they didn't even sniff the playoffs, let alone the finals. So I thought they have playoff experience. I think their big three collectively, if they play to their abilities, are better than the Warriors' most experienced three. And I thought, hey, let's go with youth. And I still thought 7 games, which tells you could go either way. So I will say this, and I'm going to speak more about him a little bit later, but Curry really impressed me. We said he was going to have, typical Curry where he'd start the series off great. And when the Warriors were leading, he'd score a bunch of points. And then when it came to crunch time, he'd be Steph. Well, Steph looks like he's hitting his peak right now. And he looked good. That 43 and 10 game. He looked good with, like I said, in game 6 with that 34-7. I was expecting to see this, but this is not really his. Maybe it is Curry's thing. Curry doing this. Like, remember when Steve Young took the monkey off his back after he won a Super Bowl with the 49ers? Because you know that because you're 49ers, right? Because he was, under Joe Montana. I felt like that Steph Curry, he might not have done the gesture, but it's like, I got that damn finals MVP. Yeah. And that, I think that was a pressure that is now off of him. So here we go. I was wrong. The Warriors won. Congratulations to Steph Curry and Haley to your Warriors. Jay, you also picked it right. You didn't even know you were picking against them. It's Warriors in 6. You guys were right.
I did pick them in 6, but I just didn't pick them to win that way. I think that was the difference in the series. And before the series started, I just felt like Golden State, my vets, would outlast yours. I thought that Steve Kerr would match them with athleticism with his rotation, and in the process of him matching them with his rotations, I thought that he would be able to keep the games close, and then my vets would just outlast yours. And that's primarily what happened in a lot of the games. I think that the Celtics got away from who they were, and they end up the games that they beat the Warriors. They beat the Warriors at their game instead of the Celtics being who they are. And I think that going forward, that's going to change. That's definitely going to change. I felt
good after game 1. I'll tell you that much. Really.
Oh yeah, that was scary. It was scary. But we do have to, everybody in the chat is talking about it because it is a main topic now. And Jay, I'll ask you, but is Steph Curry a top 10 all-time player?
If you think that he's a top 10 all-time player because of what he just did, then you already thought that anyway. This doesn't change that. The fact that he's got an NBA championship and the fact that he's been the best player in the championship series, that doesn't catapult him into the top 10. Not for me, it doesn't. Now, what I will tell you is that it does move him ahead of Jerry West and Oscar Robertson for me, which was hard to do, but it does move him ahead of those guys. I already had Steph Curry as a top 15 player all time, but the fact that now he's been the best player in a championship series, and now that he's not only been the best player in the championship series, his team won the championship, and that now makes him more iconic. That makes him even more revolutionary. And that adds to the legend of Steph Curry. So when I think about him I got him at 11 now. I got him at 12 now, right behind Kobe Bryant. But ultimately, I don't think he was better than Bryant. I don't think he was better than Diesel. I don't think he was better than Olajuwon. I don't think he was better than Duncan. I don't think he was better than Bird. I don't think he was better than Magic. I don't think that he was better than excuse me. I don't think that he was better than Chamberlain. I don't think he was better than Russell, Chamberlain, Jabbar, Jordan, or James. I don't think he was better than any of those guys. I think that that top 10 right now is going to be difficult for him to crack. However, Haley, the good thing about Steph Curry is that he's still playing. And in the process of him still playing, he still can better his resume. So when I think about him getting into the top 10, well, it's not ridiculous to say that he can't do it. I just don't think that he's there right now.
Okay, I like it. Fluent, what you thinking? I have a feeling it's pretty similar of an answer with you two.
I took Father's Day to reflect.
Okay.
And I went through and I looked at, when I look at a top 10 list, especially all time, what are some of the things I look for? You know me, I immediately, typically I say, listen, active players aren't in it. And I've kind of softened on that stance. I'm like, you know, if you've played 10, 12, whatever years, I probably know who you are. Mm-hmm. You know, you like how much more are you going to do in years 15, 16, 17? Typically, with one exception, years 16, 17, 18 are just kind of footnotes to your career. Mm-hmm. So I started to evaluate that. I started to look at something that I always tell people, right? Obviously, the stats matter. Production matters. Your impact on the game matters. Mm-hmm. Rings, finals MVPs, all NBA, all those things all like play like a role. Like for me, I look at all. So I started to tick boxes. And I said this a few months ago where I was like, I started to look at that between like Olajuwon and Shaq. And I was like, wow, you know what? I had always just said Shaq. And I'm like, I'm thinking I'm going to flip that because as I start to tick my box, I'm like, I don't know. So I spent, yeah, they're neck and neck. And listen, I think 1 through 15 is pretty much the same 15 people for most. And like just where they are, I think tweaks a little bit based on what you see importance in. So as I did that this Sunday.
Pause. No, 1 through 15 is not interchangeable, Tone.
No. You don't have and 15. I don't mean what I mean.
But
like
close.
2, 3 can flip. 4, 5, 6, 7 kinds of can flip. 9, 10, 11, 12 might be different like people will have them in different places.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't mean because I don't mean
right because I'm thinking you hear him. I want to make sure that we clarify that.
No. Yeah, no, it's not like Kareem's 17.
I probably used the wrong word, but
right because I'm hearing you talk about Bill Russell. I mean, you talk about Bill Russell's not in the top 10. Can Bill Russell go from like 11 to 5? Wait, what are we talking about?
No.
In some people's rankings, he does. Right?
Well, that's
like I got Kobe at 5. You have Kobe at 11. So you can. Yeah. But what I'm saying is for the most part, most people have the same kind of 15 players. So when I look at, I reevaluated my top 10 list. And you know, the first 5 remain the same. Jordan, James, Jabbar, Johnson, Bryant. And I admittedly have Bryant probably 2 positions higher than he should because he's my favorite player all time. And I admit that. But I also think that case could be made for him being there anyways. Then I got Bird. And here's where it gets weird for me, because after those 6, I really, as I went through my checklist, I really had a lot of tough questions to ask myself. And now 7, 8, 9, 10 are Duncan, Chamberlain, Olajuwon, Curry.
Okay.
Steph Curry has moved into my top 10, and here's why. And I can't believe I'm saying this because Jay knows how I am about active players. Can you write the history of the NBA without Steph Curry now? If basketball were to end today and you go forward 30 years, could you tell the story of the NBA without Steph and his influence on the game?
But that's a bunch of guys, though, Tone. That's not just him. And that doesn't mean that just because that's him, that those guys go into the top 10. I mean, you can't tell a story of the NBA without talking about Kyrie Irving. You can't tell a story of the NBA without talking about Bill Walton. Is Bill Walton a top 10 player? So, no, that logic doesn't work.
Hold on. You have to have all the other stuff, too. Bill Walton.
I'm listening.
Bill Walton played 5 seasons.
Healthy seasons. 5 healthy seasons.
No, he never played. He played 1 healthy season as a bench player for the Celtics. He typically played 35, 50, 40 games, right? So I said, if you add up, I think he played 400 and something games. It adds up to like 5 or 6 seasons spread out over 12 or 13 years. And he only played like 30 minutes, 19 minutes, 20 minutes. Talent-wise, Walton's great. He's not even, I don't think Bill Walton's top 75. So when I say the history of the game, you have to have all the other stuff too. I think you can write the history of the NBA without Kyrie Irving. I think you can. I think you can write it without a lot of guys, to be honest. So like I said, Curry slipped in there because as I was ticking my boxes, I'm like, all right, 4 rings, that means something, right? All NBA teams, tick, right? He got that finals MVP now, tick. He's the leader of a dynasty, right? 6 finals, 4 wins in 8 years, tick.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't care who scored. Everyone's gonna say KD was the best player of those 2 because he won the finals MVP. No, he wasn't. Steph Curry was still the best player on that team when you look at like all around player. Kevin Durant scored more, but Steph Curry was still the guy who like was a better playmaker, was a better facilitator of that offense. And if you look, they were neck and neck in scoring too. So when I went through all of that, and that's my blockbuster news because I shocked the hell out of myself that there's guys that look, if I'm trying to, there's no one on my list of 10 where I say they're gone and you can't, I think all of them you could write the history. You can't write the history of the NBA with any of those 10 guys. And on top of that, they have all the stats, the production, all that kind of stuff. So I'm just as shocked as you guys are listening to it that he's there for me.
So are you letting Larry go to 11 or
no, Larry, Bird 6.
Oh, okay.
Shaq is 11 and he bumps Russell to 12.
Wow.
Shaq is out the top 10. Okay.
Shaq's out the top 10.
Okay. Shaq
and it was
hey,
dominant. He was dominant, but look, I'm not giving the credit. I'm not saying he wasn't the best player, but he won 4 rings, 3 with Kobe, 1 with Wade.
He was in the finals 5 times in 7 years.
I know.
Not only was he in the finals,
also team. Right? Look, it's hard for
me.
But
his prime longevity was much shorter, right?
When I look at like skill wise, Hakeem had it was more. I think a more talented, skillful player on the offensive and defensive end. I think Shaq, when he played at his best, most dominant center ever, but at the same time, he didn't always play his best. He didn't always give 100% effort.
Right.
And so that's why when like I said, if you want to focus on like 5 things, Shaq could be top 5.
Right.
He just slipped out for me. Just slipped out.
Well, you started a fire in the chat. Everybody.
Of course.
But here's the thing. Before we keep going, I want to say, these are the discussions that we need to start having. Yes, sometimes they are going to sound crazy off the bat. They might be crazy, but there's still discussions that we have to start adjusting. Like, okay, these new guys, like these younger,
we have to start talking about
in
these
this generation. How are they now going to fit into the puzzle?
Yes, we have to start talking about these guys. Okay, so as you guys already know, my top 10: James, Jordan, Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell, Magic, Bird, Duncan, Olajuwon, Diesel. He wasn't better than any of those guys. None of those guys. In my estimation, I don't think he was better than any of those guys. And now we get to a guy like Bryant. So Bryant was who he was for a long stretch. Not only was Bryant who he was for a long stretch, Bryant was also who he was on the defensive side of the basketball. Because when you're comparing numbers, they're pretty similar, right? So when I say pretty similar, I mean when you're comparing scoring. It's not that much of a disparity when you're comparing that. Now, where is the difference? The difference comes on the other side of the basketball. The difference comes in impact. And Clutch isn't just scoring the basketball. Clutch is coming up with big plays, a big steal, a big rebound. So a prime example, this would be Steph Curry right here. This would be Steph Curry's shining moment. Well, Kobe Bryant in the 2010 NBA Finals, it's not going well. Not only is it not going well, the way I'm playing, we're going to lose. So what am I going to do? I'm going to get on the backboard in Game 7, and I'm going to go grab 15 boards in order for us to win. That's clutch right there. That's big time right there. So being a clutch player isn't just about buckets. So that's just one example of him being one of the all-time greats. Now, like I said, with Steph Curry still playing at a high level, because I think that he could play another 2-3 years at this level before he segues himself into more of a Ray Allen role. And I don't think that three-point record is going to be, I don't think I'm going to be allowed to see it broken, to be quite honest with you. But when I think about him playing at this level for another 2-3 years tops, if he can eclipse, maybe win another championship, maybe win another league MVP, his team be as iconic or even more iconic than what they already are, then we can have a different discussion. But as of right now, I got Curry right outside the top 10 at 12.
Okay, Jay. Okay, let me ask you this then, because you said for those that would, are saying Steph Curry is in the top 10 now, they would have already had him in the top 10. Now, let me ask you, if you're saying, well, in another championship or maybe another Finals MVP and another ring, what is that point that knocks him over that line for you? Because if it's not 4 rings, is it 5? Is it 6? Is it just leading for 3 more years a team to the final? Like what is that last piece that he?
Well, it's not just that. It is exactly what you just said. More All-NBA teams, more longevity, being dominant for a longer period. Remember, Steph Curry been in the league for 13 years. In the process of him being in the league for 13 years, he didn't make the All-NBA team until year 5. So if his career ended today, Tone, we're talking about a dude who almost half his career, he wasn't elite. So that's difficult for me to have.
That's 8 years.
Right, 8 years. Okay.
How long did it take for Jordan to go to the finals? How many years?
Don't we see what players really are in year 5? That's what
we do. I say that I say that all the time. But with that being said, that's still almost half of his career. I mean, we're talking about guys like LeBron James. We're talking about guys like Jordan, Chamberlain, Russell. These guys were awesome. Bird, Magic. These guys were awesome from day one. And not only were they awesome from day one, they stayed awesome for over a decade. Steph Curry, he had a not only did he have a knock on him, he had the reputation that we weren't sure if he was going to hold up. As good as he was, we weren't sure that he was going to hold up. And that was a problem. But the Golden State Warriors stuck with him, and he showed us that, I am that guy, and I'm going to be that guy for a long time.
It's funny that you said the injuries, because I happen to have this handy. This was the scouting report on Steph Curry coming out of Davidson. His weaknesses: not a true point guard. You're right, he's a shooting guard. Out of control at times. Shot selection, stuck between a 1 and a 2. Ability to defend position at next level. Lateral quickness. Versatility to defend multiple positions. Limited upside. Backup fringe starter. College system makes him difficult to evaluate. These are his weaknesses, just as a reminder. Average athleticism, average size, average wingspan, frail frame, relies too heavily on outside shot. Yikes. I don't know, that last one seemed to work out well for him. So here's the thing for me. You guys know, and sorry, Jay knows this. The guys in the chat don't know this. I go back and look at my top 10, top 20, top 30, and I tweak it because I'm not only fluent, I'm fluid. So could next week Shaq and Olajuwon flip? Yes. But the reason I pick Shaq this time around is this. Shaq, like I said, might be, maybe, he's in the discussion for the most dominant center of all time. But you can make a case for 2 or 3 other guys. Steph Curry is unquestionably the greatest shooter of all time. I don't think that there's a debate he's the best. They both have 4 rings. One has been to the finals, I believe, 6 times, and Shaq has been, I think, 7 times. No, Shaq has been 7 times. So 7. So he has 1 more finals trip. For those finals trips, for those 7 trips, he's had Kobe and Wade, who and Steph has had KD for 3. Well, 2 really, because the one it didn't play. I think his teammates were better too. So it's just like I said, because I'm looking. You
think whose teammates were better?
I'm saying Shaq's teammates. I think just overall for all, like if you put them all finals appearances together. But then again, I have like Kobe is high for me, and Steph has nobody in the top 10 as a teammate. No one. KD's not getting there, right? Clay's not getting there. Dre's not getting there. There's nobody that no one that Steph had played with is sniffing the top 10 ever. Shaq has that.
Right.
So, and again, I'm not using that as the be all and end all. So that's what I was going to say to the chat, where they're like, Shaq's the most dominant center. I know. I'm not saying they're miles apart. Right. I'm just saying when I put all that stuff together,
So wouldn't that be that telling point right there? Wouldn't that be bad for Steph Curry? The fact that Shaq had the guys that he had, because don't forget he got Kobe for 8 seasons, right? 8 seasons he had Kobe. They went to the NBA Finals. I think 4 times in 5 years they went to the NBA Finals, and they dealt with the nonsense that they dealt with. But they were on their way to, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 8 championships, 8 finals in 10 years, winning 6. They were on their way to doing that had they stuck together. Right, but after, when you talk about better players, Tone, after Kobe and Shaq, I mean, are we saying Robert Horry was better than Draymond Green? Are we saying Iguodala was better than Brian Shaw?
Yeah, Iguodala's better than Brian Shaw.
Iguodala
is better than Brian Shaw. Yes.
Okay, so that means that Shaq didn't have better teammates. That means that Steph Curry had better teammates.
No, I meant.
So maybe some of the star power that he had alongside him was more powerful than what Steph had.
Yeah. Again, it weighs like if rings weigh an 8 on the scale, teammates weighs a 1. It's not, like I said, people have a hard time because people always want to pick one thing.
Right.
You have to understand, and you've heard me say this a lot of times. It's all of them together. My sheet of I can't show it to you. My spreadsheet where I go through my stuff is a long list of things, which includes stats, advanced stats, accolades, like all that stuff. It's a mess. So I understand people in the chat especially are going to pick one thing that I say and they'll hang on to that one thing, and that's okay. You can do that. It's your prerogative to do that. But for me, I got to tell you, and I'll just keep reiterating, it's all of them, all of those things combined. And like I said, it may change again, but as of right now, that's what I got. That's where I am.
Yeah, my top 10 is pretty. My top 10 is pretty solid, and I ain't saying that he can't get into it, but he still got work to do.
I think my 6. So for me, like everyone's like, can you get into the top 10? Top 10 for me, like I said, I think 7, 8. If you look at everybody's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, you see a lot of redundancy and people move from 7 to 13 pretty easy. For me, can you get into my top 6? And that's the one where I'm like, I don't think you can. So, hey, don't you knock Rick Fox. Rick Fox is fantastic. But gotta stand up for my Canadians.
Okay, so I guess I like your boldness, Fluent, and I'm in that same place. Honestly, I've been thinking, because it's going all around social media, and any finals always shakes things up. People are always throwing out takes, and I really like it, and I like the conversation. But on the flip side of things, Jason Tatum. I mean, we have to talk about him. And even in one of our last pods where I was listing like my top 10, just off the top of my head, by the way, that was nothing, solid, but I kind of left JT out of that list, which was my bad. I should have included him somewhere lower, but do you see him as a superstar? And I'll go first because personally, I never saw him as a superstar. I did not think he had reached that tier. I think he's an incredible talent, and I think he can become a superstar. But like we've talked about multiple times, he has more to do. And by the way, that we saw him play in the finals and throughout the playoffs, he was solid in some points and weak in others. So we'll start with you this time.
Start with Chill.
Okay, you want to start?
That's his guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that is your guy. But yeah, tell us what you think. Where is JT now? Did the finals impact his legacy or kind of where he was headed? Or should we not take too much account into this finals?
I think that this is great for him because the all-time greats, and I've mentioned this in the past, the all-time greats, they become all-time greats through adversity. Tone's favorite player, Magic Johnson. The reason why he became Magic Johnson is because in 1984, there was a huge headline in the paper that read, "Tragic Magic." Not only do you lose to Bird, not only do you lose the series, this dude right here, you're awesome, Magic. You just ain't Bird good. So now I got to listen to that forever. I got to listen to that the entire time that I am not only lose to this dude, but I ain't even, whenever you talking about the better players in the game, when you talk about Larry Bird, don't bring my name up because I'm not close to that good. That made Magic nuts. And he went into the lab and he went and got to work and he came back a better player. And not only did he come back a better player, he stayed a better player for the duration of his career. Well, I think this is great for Jason Tatum considering the fact that this is the first time that he's been here, and he's been able to feel how difficult it is not only to get there, but to lose and to see what the work is, what it's going to take to get over the hump, and to see a vet like Steph Curry and to see a veteran team like that. Now he knows what it looks like. And do I think that he's a superstar? I think he's on his way to being that. Absolutely. I am 100% confident that he's a franchise player. No question in my mind about that. But a superstar, when I think about superstars, I think about James as a superstar. Kevin Durant is a superstar. Tony, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it just because it's interesting that we talk about how, as of right now, you know, Jason Tatum is kind of falling off the rails. Was it not like 3 years ago that we were talking about, that you were hearing rumbling that, you know, Giannis might not be a number one. Giannis might be a 2 after they lose to the Toronto Raptors. Giannis might not be that good. He might not be a guy that you can build it around. Now we go from that to Giannis is a top 20 player all time. He's the second greatest power forward in NBA history. So I think this is great for Jason Tatum. I think that he's going to put the work in. I still believe to this day that in another year, 2 years tops, we're going to have a serious conversation about him being the best player in the game. I see the commitment on the defensive side of the basketball. I see him getting stronger. I see him going in the lab and putting in work and becoming a better player. No doubt about it.
I want to go back because you said something about Magic. Just remember, Magic comes into the league, right? First overall pick, goes to the Lakers. And what does that? Well, actually, go back a year before that. He's going to the NCAA tournament. And who's the better player? Oh, it's Bird. It's this kid Bird. It's this kid Bird. And he beats him. Then they go to the NBA, and it's Bird, and it's Bird. And Magic wins the NBA Finals. Like, he wins it, right? 42, 15, and 12, I think. I always forget the 12. Playing without his best player, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, in Game 6. And what do people say after he wins it? Yep, they won the chip. Bird's still better, right? Like, so I see, I know what you're saying in terms of coming out of adversity. I want to then go back a step because we talked about the finals, and you asked me, Haley, I don't know if you remember. You said, whose game is it going to be for the Celtics? Do you remember my answer? You said,
yep.
Who are the Celtics going to play? Who did I answer? You remember or no?
I thought you said it was going to be Tatum.
You're crazy. JD, roll the tape. It was Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, 34 and 7, 5 of 11 from 3, 12 of 23 overall. Tatum, 6 of 8. And what did I say? I said Tatum's going to have, and again, you guys, for those in the chat, go back and check the tape. You can just scroll down to the last episode of this, where I said Tatum's not a superstar. And that's your question. Is he a superstar right now today? No, he's not. Why is he not a superstar? Because he's inconsistent. And I told you for Game 6, so I was right about something, is that he's inconsistent. So I expect him to have a bad game. 13, 7 and 3, 1 of 4 from 3, 6 of 18 from the field. That's what's holding him back. You're a fringe star if you can't be consistent. And so he's lucky because he does do it on the defensive end too. So he's a star until he can do it night in, night out. Then he becomes, like, you know, it's interesting. James, for his career, averages 27, 7 and 7. And I think there was a stat like last year where he's actually never in his career actually had 27, 7 and 7 ever in his, although that's what he averaged. But you know, when he steps on the court, you're going to get 27, 7 and 7, right? You know this. And when he doesn't, everyone's like, oh my God, what happened? Tatum, you don't know what you're going to get yet. So for him to become the superstar that Jay is saying, he needs to get consistent. He needs look, not to say you're never going to have a bad game. You are. But I mean, like, for 90% of the time, you need to know I'm getting this. And for every time that they have a bad game, there's going to be 2 games that he steps up. And so it's your, 5? We haven't seen that yet. So for him to be a superstar, I think that's the only thing he needs. Consistency.
I can get with that logic. And with that also being said, we're talking about a guy, because you bring up Jaylen Brown. I mean, Jason Tatum, when Jaylen Brown was out of the lineup during the season, he was 30 and 8 when he was out of the lineup. But then what you'll see the flashes of that greatness. So you'll see him in Game 6 in an elimination game in Milwaukee, go for 46. And you're going, there's the guy that I'm talking about. This is the guy that I'm telling you that's going to be the superstar. But then you'll turn around and see him in Game 6 of the NBA Finals, had 2 points in the second half. And then he'll basically be a shell of what he used to be. And I think I think the problem that we have in there is his ability to grow. And he hasn't gotten there yet. But he is you've already seen him do it. Now it's just a matter of him being able to put it together on a consistent basis. And once he does that, Tone, you and I are going to have that conversation. And there are a lot of people who don't want to have it. They're going to have this conversation. No doubt about that. Which will explain why he's not there yet.
Once he's consistent, I'll give it to you. I'll say he's there. And A.R. Smith said something that I say all the time. People throw around the word superstar. There's but 5, maybe 7. I'll stick with 5 superstars in this league. There's not like
name them, Tone. Name them. Name 5 superstars in the game.
LeBron.
I'll give you 1.
Curry.
2. Can we please not forget the world champion of last season?
Giannis.
Please don't forget him.
Giannis.
Okay.
Probably Jokic.
How about the league MVP? Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And then I struggle after that because people are going to throw around Embiid.
I think he's a superstar. Right? Absolutely.
KD.
Mm-hmm.
No, KD's not a superstar. KD's not a superstar.
What?
No doubt about it.
He's the greatest number 2 in the history of the world.
What are you talking about?
He's not
no
a
way,
superstar.
Tom.
Name me a team.
Wow,
Hold on, superstar. This is what I mean. You guys throw the word around. Name me a team that he carried. Name me something that he did consistently, that makes him a superstar in the league.
Okay, so we'll rewind the clock. So let's make sure we clear, Tony, and I want you to, this as well as I do. You are aware that Kevin Durant's career did not start in 2016 when he joined the Warriors, right? He was in Oklahoma City for 9 years. And not only was he in Oklahoma City for 9 years, he took that team to the NBA Finals, even though they lost to the Miami Heat, where he did average 30 and 10 in that NBA Finals as the number 1.
He had a pretty good roster. Yeah, he was the number. But that makes him a star.
No, it doesn't, Tone. No, it doesn't. Okay, that roster that he had, which was built in the draft, none of those guys jumped on board with him. They got Russell Westbrook in the draft. They got Ibaka in the draft. They got James Harden in the draft. And that entire unit was built around Kevin Durant as the star. So with that, and not only was it built around him as the star, they progressed with him getting better every year, leading the league in scoring, being one of the best players in the game. They were in the Western Conference Finals 3 times in 5 years, and that was on the strength of KD. For you to say that he was not a superstar,
I'm not saying he's not great. I don't think he's a superstar.
Him winning the league MVP.
I said today, and today he's not a superstar.
He's absolutely a superstar. Tone, don't forget that before he got hurt in Brooklyn, in February, the Brooklyn Nets were at the top of the Eastern Conference. Yes. They still were at the top of and not only were they at the top of the Eastern Conference, they were at the top of not only were they at the top of the Eastern Conference, had he not gotten hurt, we're talking about Kevin Durant he did get hurt, but had he not gotten hurt, we talking about Kevin Durant as the league MVP at that particular time. Now, that doesn't negate the fact that because he got hurt, he wasn't a superstar. Because I'm very interested to hear your logic on a guy who's the best player on the best team in whatever conference that we don't consider him a superstar.
He's not a superstar.
Well, okay. So first off, I have to pull a Shaq and say, Fluent, that take was nasty because you started a riot in the chat. But people would have said, "Let me have."
You asked today,
super chat.
Superstar, and like right now, today, here's my definition of a superstar. I'm taking that guy and I'm building a franchise around him today, and he's going to lead me to a chip. I don't think I do.
So you're just saying currently.
That was the question. Who's a superstar right now in the league?
Well, how is that? But with that being said, Tone, you going strictly off the fact that he got hurt. That's what you going off of. That doesn't change how awesome he was.
It does.
That's the part. No, it does not. It does not change how awesome he was. You know why it doesn't change that? Because when he came back, right? When he came back, he still was really good. They ended up making the playoffs. But before that, they were at they got swept right out of the playoffs. No doubt about that. But
may I hold on? Let me interrupt. And getting swept means what?
That you're not close.
That you're
That's
not
what
close.
it means.
Okay, yeah.
That you're not close.
Right.
But with that,
Kawhi, because we're confusing superstar talent, superstar ability, superstar production in the past with today. Is Kawhi a superstar right now? No.
We talking about a different guy in Leonard. We're talking about a different guy. We're talking about a top 10 talent. He hasn't played in a year. Kevin Durant has actually played. And not only did he play before he got hurt, we're talking about a guy who was at the top. Absolutely. His team was at the top of the Eastern Conference. And not only were they at the top of the Eastern Conference, it was on the strength of him. It wasn't on the strength of anybody. You saw what happened to them when he got hurt. They not only did they almost fall out of the playoffs, they were sinking. They were the Titanic. They were sinking when
was he a superstar when he came back?
Is that what we going off of? The fact that because we talking about a guy who came off of injury, a big time injury. He had a sprained MCL, we kept him out for almost 2 months. How sharp do you expect him to be, Tone, after being out for 2 months?
I don't expect him to be a superstar. I'm sorry. Listen, you're not asking over the last 5 years after last year. The question was, and maybe I took your question, Haley, wrong. You said, who are the superstars right now? And now.
Kevin Durant is absolutely a superstar. No doubt about that. He's still in his prime. He might be on the other side of his prime, Tone. No doubt about that. He may be on the other side of his prime, but he's still in his prime. And in his prime, I can't name 5 guys in the NBA, 1, that are better than him, 2, that are still viable on playoff or championship contenders. I can't find 5 guys today in today's game. I can't. That's a superstar to me. A guy who we're building our unit around, and the us being successful hinges
in top 10.
Us being successful hinges on you. That's a superstar to me.
Hold on. So us being successful depends on you. So Pascal Siakam's a superstar?
No.
But the Raptors' success depends on him being good.
But wait a minute, Tone. That's the reason why that doesn't work. The reason why that logic doesn't work is because Pascal Siakam isn't the same player as Kevin Durant. It'd be one thing if Pascal Siakam was close to those guys in terms of him being players. He may be
Our team relies on you to be successful.
Right, they do rely on them. Now, with that being said, you also have to be playing that way as well. You can't just be on a good team. So is Shai Alexander the kid in Oklahoma City, is he a superstar? Because his success depends on them guys moving forward? No. You know why? Because he ain't nearly as nice as Luka is. He ain't nice as those other guys are. But is he awesome? Yes. Is Kevin Durant one of the 5 best players in the NBA? Yes. Does the Brooklyn Nets, their success hinge on him being awesome? Yes. Same thing with Luka.
For me, superstars just I hold them to a higher standard, and he's not.
How much higher, Tone? How much higher do you have to be when you are the best player on a championship contender, and our success hinges on you? And on top of that, you are one of the best players. You're one of the 5 best players in the game. How much higher do you have to be?
On a championship contender. He wasn't on a championship contender. Contender because my guy Chill says if you get swept, you're not close.
100% confident, and that's a fact. 100% confident that the Brooklyn Nets, before he got hurt, were at the top of the Eastern Conference. 100%.
Okay, guys. Okay.
Top of the Eastern Conference too. How did you end? I don't care how you started. You might be great out the gate. How do you finish the race?
Okay. That was everybody likes this version of Fluent. I'm not sure if we're here to see how mad we can make Jay or what, but
awesome.
I'm here for it. Great. I am here for it.
Yes, ma'am. This is awesome right
goodness.
Here. This is what we do.
FYI, just because someone asked, JD asked, and he helps us out all the time. So let me find out Fluent wears KDs when he laces them up. I do not.
Hey, if I find out that this dude got a pair of KDs, right? Okay, I'm sending you the screenshot. I'm telling you right now, JD. If I find out that this dude got a pair of KDs, I'm sending you the screenshot and putting him on blast.
Receipts.
I will run upstairs right now and show you. They are definitely Currys.
Boy said this is the best stream yet. So good job, guys. I like the energy. Oh my goodness, you guys cracked me up. So okay, we're moving into, I guess we kind of just talked about it, but we're gonna look forward into next season. Okay, so and this is expecting Kawhi to be healthy, Dame to be healthy, KD to be healthy, all these guys that we are great players that we haven't seen in a while, which makes me so excited for next season. I miss a lot of those guys a lot, but I want you each to give me your top 10 players for next season, the top 10 that you think are just going to come out hot and really lead the league.
Mm-hmm. So I'll start it. I think that. Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Haley.
Oh, no, good. I was just going to say, I have a feeling Fluent's going to throw somebody in there that we're not expecting with whatever you're on tonight.
So I don't have
mine.
Them,
I'm ready.
I don't have them I don't have them in any particular order, but I think that Giannis is. I still think that Giannis is the best player in the game, and then it gets tricky after Giannis. I think that Luka's going to be a top 10 player. I think that Joker's going to be a top 10 player. I think Embiid's going to be a top 10 player. I think KD is going to be a top 10 player. I think Curry is going to be a top 10 player. I think Ja's going to be a top 10 player. I think Book is going to be right back in the middle of that. I think Book could be a top 10 player. I think Jason Tatum is going to be a top 10 player. I think Leonard is going to be a top 10 player. Let's see, that's Jason Tatum.
Players.
Jason Tatum.
No, it's 8.
Leonard. Jason Tatum, Leonard, Book.
Steph, Braun.
Braun, KD, Giannis. Who am I leaving out? I think
Ja.
Paul George could. I think Ja, and I think Paul George is going to be in that mix too. I absolutely, and I think Jimmy Butler's going to be right on the outside of that.
Ooh, okay, I like it. Fluent.
Oh man, this is a hard one for next year because you got guys like Paul George who played like 5 seconds this year, Kawhi who didn't play at all.
Mm-hmm.
That, and then you got young guys like Ant who's gonna get better, I think. And even though I hate him, by the way, right now, just so you guys know, I watched that movie Hustle, where he plays Kermit, and I hate it. I hate it.
You guys didn't like that?
When
really?
It was kind of cool.
When he brought up poor dude's daughter up in the stat, like I was just like, man. But anyways, nothing to do with his real life. But
he deserved a punch to the face for that too, Tom. By the way, he did. He deserved to get cracked.
So funny that guy, I forget his name in the movie, but Bo Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I remember that guy being me in high school. Like if you talk trash to me, I want to say, because my freshman year, Jade probably went through the same thing. When you're like freshman, sophomore playing on varsity, you get picked on a lot. And I was, I hadn't even fully grown. I finished at 6'3", but I was maybe, I don't know, 5'11", 150 pounds soaking wet. Like I'm a full 100 pounds plus heavier than I was. And so people picked on me because I was little. And I didn't know how to deal with it. And I got suspended a couple of times for punching people, elbowing them. So I felt like I was Bo Cruz. So really that's why I really like that movie and why Kermit bothered me. That being said, that's not what we're talking about. Giannis, Curry, Embiid, Luka, LeBron, Jokic, Trey, Jimmy Butler, John.
I left Trey out.
It's tough because there's so many to choose from.
Can I say this again? There are so many good players right now in the NBA. Like it is so, which is why I love watching it.
Dame out too.
So many good players.
I have Dame in mind.
I left Dame out too, and I brought Leonard back in simply because just the talent that he is. Now the fact that he's been out an entire season, and I really am not sure. I think that he'll be good enough. Even though that knee injury is, I think that he'll be better.
50, 60 games max?
Which is fine.
I know, but that just...
Which is fine to me. So to leave Dame out, though, I got to revise my list because I think Dame is a top 10 player. I do. I think Dame is a top 10 player. I think that I'm having a difficult time leaving Trey out, too, because I got a guy that's averaging 30 and 10. How can I leave him out?
Watch out for my dark horse. My dark horse, I believe he's going to be playing for. Let me take a guess where he's going to go. Let's see if I'm crazy or not. Who has the most like draft capital / salary cap? Does anybody know off the top of their heads?
Who's got? Oh, the Oklahoma City Thunder do.
Oh, no, he's not going there. He's not going. Whatever team Zion laces up for next year. Look at that. You guys are good. Right in the chat, just as I said it. If I saw
Zion could very well be that.
Zion is the dark horse top 10 because if he's on a team next year, whatever team he's on, and by the way, he will not be on whatever the heck team he's on now.
Pelicans.
You don't think he's with the Pels next season?
I don't think the Pels should be in the NBA.
What?
They should move back to Seattle, or not move back. They should move to Seattle. That team needs. I know it's Oklahoma City that was Seattle. I do know that before I get killed in the chat. The Pels don't deserve.
I thought they got something going at the end there,
No.
and I think
Zion is my dark horse top 10 player next year on whatever team. He's getting traded on draft night. I don't know if you guys know that or not.
We do not support the opinions of everybody on this show. Just so you guys know,
The thoughts and opinions of
we do not support the thoughts and opinions on everybody on this.
You don't think Seattle deserves a team more than the Pels?
Absolutely, but what they don't deserve, Tone, is they don't deserve to take somebody else's team. Nah, they don't do that. Even though they lost their team, they don't deserve to just take somebody else's team.
They didn't lose their team. It's not like,
it was stolen. Their team was stolen, and they didn't deserve that. So in return, they don't deserve somebody else get their team stolen. No, that's not the way that should work. No, absolutely not. But to think about my top 10 again, I'm thinking about guys like Giannis, Curry, Joker, Embiid, KD, like I said, Leonard, Paul George. Did I say Luka? Yeah, Luka, Dame. Those are guys that I can think about off the top of my head. And Jason Tatum off the top of my head that are top 10 guys. And the fact that I'm leaving out guys like Jimmy Butler, I'm leaving out guys like Trae Young. So, and those guys are right on the outside looking in.
How come you didn't say Pascal Siakam? Wasn't he second team All NBA? That's top 10.
Was he third team All NBA this year?
Yeah.
I think he was third team All NBA, which would make him a top 15 player. Yeah.
Sidebar. Jay, I know you love Ja, but Ja or Trae, who do you see growing the most this next season? Is it Ja, like, easily? Is that
I think we're getting close to who Trae is. I think we're right there on the doorstep of who Trae actually is and who he's going to be long term. I think we're moving into year 5, and I think we're getting close to who he is and who he's going to be over the next 8-9 years. I think Ja, the biggest issue that we have with him is health. So we haven't really seen yet who he is. And we've seen in stretches who he can become. So the guy who could take the biggest leap, I mean, I'm looking at Ja, and I mean, he did make the All-NBA team this year, did he not? So I mean, this is a guy who didn't, who was in and out of the lineup, and he wasn't healthy. If he could stay healthy, he may be a legit MVP candidate, and he may take the leap, kind of like what Giannis did when he took the leap over AD. He may be able to do that if he can stay healthy. But when I look at Trae, like I said, I think we're getting close to who he is, and I mean, a guy that's 30-10. I'll take 27 and 11 for the next 8-9 years. I'm good with that.
Here's my old fuddy-duddy take of the night. Ja's partying too hard this offseason. I think he's going to take a step back next year.
He might be chilling a lot, Tony.
He's out of control.
He is chilling a lot, and I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say with 100% certainty that I like it, Tony.
Good for him, but man, that makes me. If I'm Memphis, I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
He's just living his best life.
Like he went like. And I'm talking about work ethic. He went like Kobe to Paul Pierce, like retirement Paul Pierce, like in a split second. Like he just warp speed to doing a live with, some exotic.
But you also got to remember too that the summer hasn't really started yet. So their season just ended less than a month ago. So, I'm still on the couch, and remember, Tone, losing is very traumatic. So I equate what Ja going through. It's like breaking up with a girl. So now I'm just gonna go get with every girl that I could possibly get with. But then I'm gonna come back down to earth, and then I'm gonna get back to work.
Get it out of your system.
Yeah, I'm gonna get there, and that's kind of what's going on with Ja right now. He's kind of getting all of that out of his system. Give him a minute, and then he's gonna get back to work, and I think he's gonna come back super sharp.
It's funny that you said that because my good friend Coach Hugh Jackson, hashtag we're not sick. He always used to, that was for Shaq. I don't know if he's listening. Always tells me when professional athletes, and he was telling me stories about Chad 85. You know him as Chad Ocho Cinco, but I don't speak Spanish. So I call him Chad 85. Chad 85, and he's like, every time it was a loss, you had to go get him a win. wherever that was. And he says it about all pro athletes. When there's a loss, they need to, whether it's at the club, at home, at the, whatever, they need to go get a win. And so I guess Ja's going out and getting his win. So good.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick. This is just for fun, so we can come back in the future and look back. But real quick, rapid fire, off the top of your head, Jay, what two teams are going to make it to the finals next season?
I think Milwaukee's going back to the NBA Finals. All we're doing is running it back. They're just going to shore up their big man in the middle, and I think that they're running it back. I think they represent the Eastern Conference next year. And then in the Western Conference, I think the road to the NBA championship goes through San Francisco. As good as Phoenix was, as good as Memphis is, as Denver's going to be back, but the road to the NBA championship goes through, as Dre would say, the Warrior Invitational.
Okay. Fluent. I had the same exact one, by the way.
So in the East, I'll start with the East. The East is, I'm with Jay. I think Milwaukee has a really good chance because they're going to be healthy. Like last year was just, it was bad, but I think they're going to be healthy. They'll be back in the mix. Listen, Boston's going to be in the mix because now they've gone through this finals run and gained the experience that they need. So they're going to be better. Philadelphia's going to be in the conversation. The Nets, if healthy, are going to be in, like those teams. But I think if I had to pick a team, I'm going to go with the Bucks. And since JD wants us to talk about Kyrie, it actually works out perfectly because the Los Angeles Lakers will trade Russell Westbrook for Kyrie Irving, and they will be in the NBA final next year. Kyrie and LeBron reunited. And
no way.
Good.
Crazy.
Can you imagine KD's logic?
Realistically, the Warriors have the best shot.
KD, can you imagine KD with getting back with Russ? That's like having them. Oh my goodness!
I don't think he'll make it through that.
Oh man,
he couldn't make that.
Considering how they broke up, like now they getting back together, and now we got to make this thing work.
Yeah.
Not only considering how they broke up, and what KD went on and did with who he went on and did it with, and now I got to get back with this dude, and now I have to be super sharp with him. Oh my goodness!
Didn't he get back together with Harden?
Did who get back together with Harden?
KD.
Yes, KD got back together with Harden, but it was a completely different situation. The Oklahoma City Thunder decided.
To be honest, what I see happening is because the Lakers, look, if LeBron wants Kyrie, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Sounds like he wants Kyrie. Jordan is the worst GM in the league. Although he's the owner, we know he's the GM, and he's the worst. As great of a player as he's equally as bad as a GM. And so he wants Russ now, right? He got snubbed. We didn't talk about Kenny Atkinson saying, "I'll be your coach." On second thought, right? We're gonna end up with like Mike D'Antoni, which actually suits Russ. Just think about Russ. You got 7 seconds. Like that's perfect for Russ. Charlotte wants Russ. So they'll
do we care about the kid do we care about Melo? Do we care about his development? Are we okay with this dude coming in here? Because we've seen who Russ is. We know who Russ is. Are we comfortable with Russ being ball dominant and coming in and completely thwarting the development of LaMelo Ball? Add that to the fact that his father
Melo.
That's even worse. You know why that's worse, Tone? That attitude is even worse.
You know what the response was? If you talk to Melo about the new coach, why? That was Charlotte's response. Why? So no, they don't care about Melo. They don't care about Melo.
And this is why
he wants Russ. Russ is his guy. Russ will be. Maybe Melo goes to Brooklyn. I don't know. There'll be a 3-team deal. So I think they have to move Russ to make the space for Kyrie. So correct. I think there's something there.
Here's the thing, Tone. Here's the thing that needs to be understood about Kyrie Irving. LeBron James wrote the blueprint in 2009 on what not to do when you're a free agent or when you're a free agent to be does not re-sign with you. When he tells you, I'm going to wait to sign an extension, what that means is I'm not sure that I'm interested. So what I don't want to do is I don't want to be left holding the bag. So you have to entertain trading him. You have to early. Now, The Brooklyn Nets have until, because they still have him under contract. So they have until the 29th of this month to decide what they're going to do with him. Because if he opts out, he can walk right out of the front. He can walk right out the front door. And I said this in the past, Danny Ainge, as problematic as Kyrie Irving is, let him walk right out the front door. And you can't have a talent that's that good and that's that iconic walk out the front door. You have to get something for him. That's just terrible business. As good as he is, you cannot let him walk out the front door. Don't get me wrong, Tone. We can have an addition by subtraction. But what I can't do is I can't just let him leave and get nothing for him. And I think that Sean Marks is in a position right now, and a lot of people don't want to say this, but I'll say it. I think he over Kyrie Irving. I honestly do. That's why he's putting a lot of language. If they do.
I've over Kyrie last season when he said you can't play part-time, you didn't get your vaccine. And I guarantee you behind the scenes, KD and Harden were like, hey, we need to get Kyrie back on board one way or another because we can't win without him.
Right.
That's the only reason. Now, Harden ended up basically, who knows what happened behind the scenes, and then Harden's out. But that's why that happened. Sean Marks was over it at the beginning of the season. So now he has him where he's a restricted free agent. Trust me, if he can do a sign and trade to make his team better, in the back of my mind, I don't even know why he's thinking, what can I get for Ben Simmons? Or will Ben Simmons work next to KD? I don't know what he's thinking. Like,
well,
I think it's long over Kyrie.
The downside is that Kyrie can opt out of his deal. The good side is that he does have one more year left on his deal. So you might not totally lose him. But that gives you enough time, if he does opt into his deal, to decide whether or not you're going to move away from him or not. Because if they were going to extend him, they would have already done that. And they didn't do that. And the reason why they didn't do that is because of how problematic he is and of how erratic he is, how uncertain he is. I mean, you can't have a guy who in the middle of the season or in the beginning of the season, because of what's going on in society, you're having mental issues, decide to just leave work for 2 weeks and not consult with anybody. That's terrible for business. Because at the end of the day, this is basketball, but this is business too, and this is a job. And that's not being professional.
Well, that's why I asked the question. At what point is his talent and skill not enough to put up with the rest of it?
I think Sean Marks is already there, Tone. I think that he's at that point where I think that that's why that there's so much, even if they do extend him, there's going to be so much language in the contract, which will have him saying, I mean, is this really worth it to even do this? Can I live up to this contract? And if he can't, then he won't get paid. Now, do I see him leaving Brooklyn? I don't see him leaving Brooklyn, but I don't think it's his choice at this point, to be honest with you. I really don't.
I think Kyrie is the Antonio Brown of the NBA. I think you just need to just get what you can and move on. For me,
yeah, it's sad. I love Kyrie. I've always liked him, but I feel like last season.
What is it? Hold on. Now I'm going to pick on you a little bit. What do you mean you've always loved? What is it? You always loved Kyrie?
I like Kyrie. I mean, not necessarily his life choices. I mean, he's whack. I kind of like that though. He's different. I like how he thinks in a way.
He's whack.
Whack.
He is, but he's interesting. But no, I mean, he's just the beauty. He dances when he plays. You know, he has just gorgeous handles and just the way he moves around the court is beautiful to me. But then comes all the drama and all that.
Tone, you see your face, Tone? You know who Haley is? She's the dude. She's the chick looking at the dude with the pretty face. She don't want to know where he lives. She don't want to know about his friends, right? She don't know what kind of job he has. But he's really pretty. He's got a beautiful face. He's got a great body. Only you find out that he's a whack job, but you didn't know that because you didn't do your homework on this guy.
No. I look at the heart too, not shallow.
There was that guy that had his mugshot. Like he's a hard-ass criminal, tattoos all up on his neck, and all the girls were like, "But he's so pretty."
No,
aggravated as fault, but he's so pretty. That was the face of this guy.
He's great. Kyrie. He's great to look at, but if you say something wrong, he'll put you in a sleeper hole and choke your lights out. Oh, absolutely, he'll do that.
Basically. So anyway, yeah, but Kyrie. Okay, I know JD probably wants
turn into this when you're alone.
Whoa!
That's what happens when you're alone. Be careful with that.
But to answer your question, Haley, I think that we're at a point now where I think that Kyrie Irving wants to come back to Brooklyn, but I don't think that it's going to be his choice. I don't.
Okay. Last question, rapid fire. Who is more likely to get traded next season, Russ or Kyrie?
This is the slowest rapid fire I've ever seen. What was the question?
Who's more likely to be traded next season, Russ or Kyrie?
Russ.
Really? Okay.
This is like musket fire. Both, because they're getting traded for each other. I just said that.
Nobody wants to see that.
Like I said, it might
maybe
be
everybody
deal, but no, they're both getting traded together. I would say, give me a harder one. Give me a harder one. Who's most likely to not be on their same team, Ayton or Gobert? Give me a good Mitchell or Zion. Those are good. Those are good.
Okay. Ones. I'll come prepared next week or Thursday with some good trade options.
Yeah, not next week. Tuesday.
I know it's only Tuesday. It's been a long day, long week already. But yeah, before we get off chat, thank you so much for interacting today. It was a lot of fun. Get those likes up too before we head out, and always feel free to go to the video after it's been posted on YouTube and leave us ideas of what you want to talk about. And we'll definitely make more time for questions on Thursday too, because you didn't get. And
we'll stay on today longer if you put in a super chat right now. We'll answer all your super chat questions right now. Get the likes. I'm just gonna read JD's comments. He's wax. Whack. Hey yo, get the likes up, chat. What are you doing here? All right, I ain't liking nothing. Oh, Miles Allison, we appreciate your dedicate. I ain't liking nothing. It's fine. Let's go. Can everybody go to Miles Ellison? I don't know where we can find him on social, and unfollow him and send him.
He's having a bad day.
I'm having a great day. Yeah. I'm off for 2 weeks. I'm having a great time.
Oh, not you.
Yeah, I quit.
I know. We can tell you're having a great day.
I quit my job, so I'm feeling good.
You did another one?
What do you mean another one?
I just remember when we were doing, I was on Player's Choice, and then you came in for like a segment, and you were like, "Yeah, I'm quitting my job."
I did, yeah. So like, the one that I took to replace that one, I quit that one out too.
Oh my goodness, you were man of many trades.
No. I always had this job starting July the 4th, so I keep doing it. Yeah, no, July 4th I started.
What is your main job? What is your main like position? Are you in like sales, or you just do whatever comes?
Sports. Don't ask me questions on the air, Haley.
You're right.
Hey Jay, what was the name of the yoga instructor? Like, you don't do that.
I feel like you can say like what you do in your off time. You don't have to say where you work, just what you do. But you're fluent and chill. Now we know. He's a model.
I'm an actor. I'm an actor. Wait,
JD said you're a model.
JD, I am a model. I'm a plus size model. It's actually not that. It's actually true. I have done plus. You ever see those shirts? You ever see those shirts where it's like for the double XLs, and they're like, this model's 6'3", 270. That's me. And that's why I hide it down here. I don't know if you can see the screen cuts off right here, because you can't tell from this part up. We're going way off. We need to bring it back. Bring it back.
All right, you guys. Are you
control back somebody? What is that? You got another jersey back there? Who is that? Draymond Green?
Yeah, I added Draymond to my wall. I just felt like it was appropriate. I love Draymond. I know he gets a lot of slack, but you know what? Draymond is. I just like his attitude. I really do. I like those guys that are fierce and
like the way
are unapologetic.
0-2-3. That's like one of his stat lines.
Oh my! Wow. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Wah, wah.
Oh, you wanted
perfect timing. Perfect timing. Yes.
Okay, let me just answer this question and then we'll leave for sure. Okay, because Miles Wilson, he's my new best friend. What do you expect from the Bears next year? I expect them to win like 3 games. They're trash.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Justin Fields will throw more interceptions and get sacked more than thrown touchdowns. That's what's happening to the Bears. That's what happened.
Poor guy. Yeah, it's not looking too bright, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Oh, Jay, who do you think is going to start for Niners Trey or Jimmy?
Trey Lance. They're gonna go with Trey Lance.
Really?
I don't think
You
he's
think?
ready. I think that he could.
I
I
don't
think that he
either.
could stand. I think that he could stand and sit behind Jimmy G for another season. And the fact that Jimmy G is going to get banged up, I think that'll be good for him because he will get reps as opposed to just throwing him out there. I don't think he's ready. I don't.
Agreed.
So who gets traded first? Russ, Westbrook, or Jimmy Garoppolo?
Oh, Jimmy Garoppolo is getting traded this summer. So Russ is going to get traded by the deadline because he's got an expiring contract, and expiring contracts looks great for teams. So
Jimmy's going this summer, you think? Is it like dang, that's crazy. I agree. I think we need him one more season. I don't love it, but Trey is not ready.
Where? Who's going to take Jimmy?
Oh, they would. First of all,
he's not. No.
He would before they signed Deshaun Watson. I thought he would be great in Cleveland. I thought that he would be great. I think that he'd be great in Tennessee. I think that he would be great in a bunch of different teams. I think that he would have been great in Washington before they got Wentz. He'd be great in Carolina. I think that he would be great in a bunch of different NFC teams. But I know that they're not going to just hand him over to anybody. So,
well, the team that actually needs a quarterback the most, unfortunately, is in their division. So he's not going to Seattle.
He's not going to Seattle. That's not happening.
Seattle has me at quarterback. Like they're the ones that's probably
they're not giving him that.
And who need a gap quarterback, right? They're not going to get their franchise guy right now, but he'd be a good gap. But that's not going to happen. All right.
Yeah.
Ooh. What else? Anything else?
I'm trying to think of any major news, but we'll definitely go into NFL more in the next coming weeks because
I do think that
I'm excited.
I think that we were supposed to cover the top 5 small forwards all the time.
Ooh.
Host Haley, you forgot.
That's on me.
Top 5. Okay.
You want to get into it, or JD, you let us know because I know we were on your. But do you want to get into that now?
You want to do it right now, or you want to save it for Thursday?
I'm down. Maybe we'll save it for Thursday. We'll save that one for We'll save that one.
We'll deep dive into that one.
When's the draft? The 20
tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, draft is tomorrow.
All right, so so Thursday we'll do top 5. Is it 5 or 10 small forwards of all time, or just
it was top 5?
Top 5.
It was top 5 all time.
Top 5 all time. Oh, okay, good. Oh, I got a good one for that.
Oh no.
I got a good one for top 5 all time, and then we'll do top 5 small forwards on Thursday, and we'll recap the draft.
Yep.
All right,
yeah.
Who do you think? That's just the only draft question I will ask you, both of you, and I'll answer it too. But I'll ask you guys first. Who's going number 1?
I love that kid from Auburn. I think he's a franchise player.
Jabari
Smith. I love him.
Oh, you didn't mention Jabari.
Player. Yeah, I love him. My buddy thinks that he's. And I got chills when he told me that. He said he reminded him of Lenny Bias. And I started watching him. I'm thinking, what? You think he's that good? So I started watching him, and I see his game, and I see a kid who he could be 18 to 22 on a Tuesday. So he looks to me like, and add that to the fact that his father played in the game, so he comes from that pedigree. I think he's one of those can't miss guys. There aren't a lot of guys. There aren't a lot of can't miss guys, but this guy, I think he's a can't miss guy.
Wow.
Haley, who you got?
I don't know about one. I'm excited to see. Isn't it Ivy? Jalen Ivy?
Mm-hmm. Jaden Ivy.
Jaden.
Jaden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he looks good. But I haven't done a ton. I know. What's the Gonzaga one coming in?
Chet Holmgren.
Chet Holmgren.
He's the one that makes me a little bit nervous, but we'll see how he fares as well.
Yeah.
So I think I'm with you on Jabari. I think Jabari and I told you my sleeper Sharp from Kentucky. I think he's gonna be the one that does really well. I like the fact that he also said he's the best player in the draft. I like that confidence from guys. I think Orlando gets it wrong, and I think they go with Paolo Banchero.
The kid from Duke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Orlando just has either like whoever they pick just ends up being bad, or they pick the wrong person. Like it just, I don't know why it just always.
Like if Jalen Suggs was in Oklahoma, if Jalen Suggs was in Oklahoma City, he might be like rookie of the year, some nonsense like that.
I don't know that he might be, like he'd be, like if you look
he'd
at
be in the conversation.
Yeah.
They got Giddy, right? And he looked great. And I think, I think if it was Suggs in that role, I think we'd be having a different conversation about Suggs as opposed to, man, Toronto got it right by going with Scotty Barnes instead of Suggs. Like it changed the whole narrative on them. So I think that's unfortunate because I want Orlando to be good. And I want Orlando to be good because I take my kids to Disney quite often and I can go watch a game. But if they're not good,
the NBA is good when Orlando is good. It is. And when I say good, I mean like the NBA is good when Orlando is an elite team.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say the NBA is fantastic, but people don't remember that old slogan.
It used to be fantastic. It's different now.
Fantastic. Now it is. All right.
Check us out. Jay.
Check us out 9 p.m. on Thursday. That's all I got.
Yeah, NBA draft is on Thursday. Everyone's saying in the chat. So
the draft is on Thursday.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So we'll give you live updates of the draft. Come join us. We'll do a draft party.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
We'll cover it.
Right. Until Thursday's draft party.
Take it light, but take it.
It's my favorite line.